Wednesday show. Wednesday show. Wednesday show. I was just looking at the we should just start doing Wednesday show and tell. This is a Millennium Falcon from, can you see the year on here? 1979. This was always my brother had this his entire life, that and the Tauntaun from Empire Strikes Back. This one's also from, this one was created in 1979, which is crazy because Empire Strikes Back didn't even come out until 1980. But he kept on trying to sell them. And then he realized that they're not in mint enough condition. And finally he said, you know what, I'll finally give it to you. He offered to sell it to me for the last like 35 years. But I was not going to be buying things for my brother until he gets it to me eventually. How's everyone doing? This is the Wednesday show and tell with what is around me. Hey Matt, how you doing? Hello Frank fam. I was telling people today about the late night Patreon Pale hangout we had last night, and a lot of people did not believe me that I read a chapter of my book for 90 minutes of them, or to the Patreon Pales, but that's what we did last night. I finished up one of the biggest chapters of my book, Restaurantosaurus, and so when I go through and I finish writing that chapter, I always go through and I read it out loud to myself, because I feel like if I read it aloud, then I can hear what works, what does not work, and it's easier for me to translate it, and then everything else. So I did, Matt. We'll talk about that in our news today for our week. Okay, so before we get started here tonight, we are going to have it so you guys are choosing the topic about what we're going to talk about for Disney. I'm going to give you the three choices before we go through our news and stuff. That way, while we go through the news, you guys can, go through and vote for what you want. We'll also do an additional minute of vote just for people who are coming on later. But tonight we're going to be doing an episode either we can do a walkthrough of a specific land. We can do a episode about a specific attraction, or should we do that? Yes, let's do that. Or we bring back the bracket series and start a brand new bracket completely organized by you guys. So those are going to be our three options. You guys are free to start voting right now. We will go through those three options in just a few minutes. So either a walkthrough of a land, a look at an attraction, or a brand new bracket series. Start throwing your votes in now. While you guys do that, let's start up the 791st episode of the Wednesday show. Hey, Dapper Vanta crew. Let's get this party started. We're going to start the 791st episode of the Wednesday show in 5, 4, 3, 2. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 791st episode of the Wednesday show. Today is October 16th, 2024, and I'm your host, as always, Brent Dodge. Hello. Today we're going to be going through and doing, I'm guessing, the bracket series. I'm just assuming that that's what's going to win the vote, but we're going to go through. You guys are going to be choosing what we're going to do the episode about tonight. But of course, as always, before we get to that, let's talk about our news for the week. First off, Matt mentioned it. Did you hear about the Premier Lightning Lane? I did hear about the Premier Lightning Lane. So let's talk a little about the Premier Lightning Lane here for a few minutes, because I do feel like there are a lot of people who are going to be talking about the Premier Lightning Lane. So for those of you guys who don't know, we already have Lightning Lane. Lightning Lane is not going away, but there's also going to be a Premier Lightning Lane, which is going to cost a whole lot more. It's going to be like $170 to $240, sometimes up to $400 a day per person. But with this, you get access to the front of every line in the park, but only once per attraction. So this will be one of those things that I may eventually do if it comes down to like a crazy challenge where I want to get on every single attraction as quickly as possible. But at the same time, if you're going to be spending that much money and you have like a group of 4, you might as well just buy the VIP tour guide at this point. So if you guys don't know, you can do a VIP tour where it's usually what you see, like the celebrities are walking around with like the cast members and the guest relations outfits. And those ones have it so it's a minimum 4 hours. Each hour is a minimum, depending on the time of year. I think the smallest minimum is $600 per hour. So 4 hours, $2,400 for the minimum. Then when it's busier, obviously it goes up. So then it's not $600 an hour. Then maybe it's $800 or maybe $1,000 or maybe $1,200. So it really depends on the time of year. One of my friends owns a business up in Boston, and she had a surplus in her for her studio. And so because of that, she used that surplus to bring her entire crew, her entire staff down here and use the VIP tour guide and hit up all the parks. And luckily, because I am her friend, she had an extra spot and she wanted to know if I wanted to join them. So I have done the VIP tour guide one time. I thought it was really good. I think it could have been a little bit better, but at the same time, I judged my friends. They wanted to do more of the shows. They own a theater company, so they want to do Indiana Jones and Beauty and the Beast and different things like that. Things that you don't really need the VIP tour guide for. But they did give us like front row seats in all these different spots as well, which was nice. But at the same time, I don't know. But yeah, so Premier Lightning Lane coming out in the next week and a half here. So if you guys want a review of it, send me money because I'm not spending that kind of money on it. We will see. I'm curious how it's going to work. Right now, it is only going to be for people who are staying at club level and at deluxe resorts. So we'll see how it actually plays out, but that will be coming sometime within the next week and a half. So watch out for that. Thanks for the suggestion, Matt. I probably would have forgotten. I had it in my notes, like I have to remember to talk about this, but then I probably would have forgotten. Oh, wait. Also, thank you everyone out there who's been joining us for our Saturday in the Park. If you didn't already know, every single Saturday over on my YouTube channel, we do a live broadcast from someplace found throughout the Walt Disney World Resort. So make sure you join us every single Saturday. We don't know where we're ever broadcasting from. Like I really honestly have zero clue where the next show is going to be. Last week we went from Living with the Land, and I really made the decision at 12:55 because it was the shortest wait. So make sure you join us every single Saturday. We will be at Disney. I just can't promise you where we're going to be. Also, speaking of YouTube, I want to give a huge thank you to everyone out there because this week we finally hit 8,000 subscribers. So we are now at 8,029 subscribers. As always, tonight's episode will go into extra innings if you get other people to subscribe out there while we are going through here. So if you go up to 8,030 during the show, well, guess what? We're going to go into a little bit of extra rounds here. So keep on sending your friends. If you're not subscribed out there already, make sure you subscribe as well so we can go into some extra innings as well there. Okay. And of course, as always, tonight's episode is sponsored by the amazing, the super-duper, the always wonderful Patreon pals. First off, if you're one of our Patreon pals in the chat room right now, give us an oh yeah. Our Patreon pals did get an exclusive sneak peek look at my new book last night, a closer look at Disney's Animal Kingdom's Dinoland USA, where I literally read the entire Restaurantosaurus chapter. And I bet if any of them are out there, I know Frank Fam, you were there last night. I don't see the other people who are watching last night though. I'm assuming that the Restaurantosaurus chapter was probably a lot longer than you anticipated. If so, please just give a confirmation because I think people are thinking that a chapter about a restaurant inside of Dinoland USA is going to be a fairly short chapter, but in reality, it's a very, very long chapter, and it took well over a month to write, and it also took even longer to do lots of research on. Oh yeah, great chapter. Yes. All right, so let's get into this. we are going to go through and have it so you guys are going to do a vote right now. Some people have already been voting, but here are your 3 options for tonight's episode. We are either doing an episode about an attraction, we are doing an episode about a walkthrough of a specific land, or we're going to do a brand new bracket series. We already have 2 votes in the chat room for the bracket series. If you don't know what the bracket series is, you'll love it. It divides families. It brings people together. Everyone in the world loves the bracket series. So you guys have about 1 more minute to throw those votes in. It'll go to 11:30 on the clock, the official clock that we have. Yeah, it's not on your screen, but it's on my screen. So we can go through and do another bracket series is what I'm assuming we're going to do. I have been thinking about this topic for quite some time. Now I'm looking for my pen. I need the pen for the bracket series. Where did I put my pen at? It was right there. But if you didn't notice, I flicked my pen around a lot. Did I flick it down to the ground? I don't see it down there. This is a different pen that I probably flicked down there years ago. Does it work? It works. Okay. So we've got the thing. So what we're going to do is you got 5 more seconds to vote. Right now, all we have is brackets coming through. So what we're going to do is we are going to be doing the bracket series. Now, what we've done in the past for the bracket series is we've had so many different topics. We've had an entire thing about characters, an entire thing about sidekicks, an entire thing about attractions, an entire thing where it was just you chose anything and everything Disney. We had one where it was you guys going through and deciding what was the best thing to watch on Disney Plus. We've had so many different bracket series throughout the years. I have our next topic because this is something that I have been thinking about for quite some time, and I absolutely love this entire thing. I love this topic because it is one of those topics that I think people truly do care about, they truly do love, and they get very passionate about. So we've talked about music and we've talked about our favorite songs. However, we're taking it into a different direction this time. Today's bracket, and the one that's going to be going on for the next probably month or 2 throughout, we're going to be doing on and off episodes about the bracket series and about other things. But this will be the best Disney soundtracks. So what we're going to do is you guys are going to start us off by throwing your favorite Disney soundtrack. So this is the entire soundtrack. This is not a specific song. So if you love the song Be Our Guest, well, maybe you like Beauty and the Beast soundtrack. So it would be the entire Beauty and the Beast soundtrack altogether. And then on top of that, we can also have it so it can be area music as well. So if it's things like, I love the Tomorrowland music while you're walking to Tomorrowland, that can be on our list. If you like things like walking down Main Street USA and you like hearing the music from the Dapper Dans, that can be his thing. So we are going to throw all of those things together. And then obviously with a lot of randomization, we're going to go through and pull it together. So let's get it started. We've got Encanto. Encanto is going to be our first one on our list. Is that the only one? I'm gonna throw my favorite instrumental Disney soundtrack out there. I'm gonna put the Rocketeer out there. Keep on throwing your things. You guys can throw whatever you want out there. It can be a land. It can be a you know what? Here, let's give you. What is your favorite? There we go. We got one. We got Tarzan. We need 64. But just even to get us started here tonight, we would need at least 16, if not 34. Hopefully, at least 16 come through tonight. But let's get it started with, how about your favorite animated movie? What's your favorite animated movie thing? Piano player from, okay, let's do Casey's Corner. Are we doing Grayson specifically? I'm putting Grayson down. We got Rapunzel on there. We got the Bayou Country. That's a new soundtrack. Pirates of the Caribbean. So we'll put Pirates of the Caribbean in New Orleans Square. So then we have Grim Grinning Ghost in there too. New Orleans Square. We have High School Musical. High School Musical. Oh, yeah, I'm going to throw one out there, too, based off of this one. I'm going to put down High School Musical, the musical, the series. Completely different set of thing. High School Musical. But I love the series. I really do love the series. We got Nightmare Before Christmas is coming in here. Before Christmas. Okay, we've had a lot of people who are joining us right now. We are doing a brand new bracket series right now where we are having it. So the bracket series is what is your favorite Disney soundtrack of all time? They're all going to be going head to head. Right now, we are just getting all the competitors together based off of what you guys are throwing there. Matt, the Haunted Mansion Holiday, because remember we're doing soundtrack, so it won't just be the holiday. So we're going to put that in with, I'm going to include that into the New Orleans soundtrack here. I'm going to make sure I put a special note in here so I don't forget it. Haunted Mansion Holiday. Because it's going to be the groups of things. So not just like a specific thing, but it's got to be a group. The Country Bear Musical Jamboree soundtrack. That's musical Jamboree soundtrack. Okay, I'm going to throw another one out there for you guys. I love Mary Poppins. I'm going to throw Mary Poppins out there. Oh, you know what? I'm also going to throw out. I'm going to throw Mary Poppins Returns because that's a great soundtrack too that doesn't get enough love. And you know what? You guys aren't throwing anything out there, so I'm going to throw one more out there. Mary Poppins on Broadway. On Broadway. Okay. So the Splash Mountain one, we will include that in Frontierland, just so we get a. Because remember, we're not doing specific things unless it's something like Country Bear Musical Jamboree, where it is the entire thing is a massive. Well, I guess. Yeah, we're gonna include it in Frontierland. We'll have it as a whole set here. Moana, make me wake, not make me, make way. Okay, we got Jungle Book. That's a great soundtrack. Lion King, that's another great soundtrack. Adventureland, another great soundtrack. The Electrical Parade. Parades. Okay. Hamilton on Disney Plus. We'll take it. It is on Disney Plus. That's going to be one where it's going to be tough for me to put a lot of stuff in there, but I will definitely throw it in there. I did watch it once. Eventually, I got it eventually in there. Toontown. I like Toontown a lot. Toontown's got a great soundtrack. Toontown. Okay, we've got 23 so far. Let's try to get another 7 or 8 or 9 or 10, somewhere around there. We want to get at least right around 32 for our first round of the evening. And then next time we do this, or even later on in the show, we will go through and do more. Fantasyland, I love it. Ba-da-ba-ba-boom. I'm loving it. Yeah, if it's like a show or something like that, like Country Bear Musical Jamboree, like if you want to, let's throw in the Enchanted Tiki Room. Tiki Room. Wishes. And then on top of that, we might as well just take off the is and put down Wish, the movie from last year. Toy Story Land. I love the Toy Story Land soundtrack. Storyland. Mary Poppins. We got Mary Poppins in there already. Aladdin, we do not have. Let's get Aladdin in there. Okay, let's get 3 more, and then we'll start doing our first rounds here. Coco. Remember me. Paint the Night. I love Paint the Night. When can we do this again? Oh. Okay, we need one more movie soundtrack or park themed area soundtrack. Hunchback of Notre Dame. Okay, and then Uh-oh. Okay. We've got 32. Let's get this party started. We are going to do our first thing. So, as always, if you've never done this before with us, right now I need two numbers between the numbers 1 and 32. And this is going to be how we're going to determine our matchups for the evening. So, first person to throw out one number, just throw out one number, and then someone else throw out another number. The first two that pop up in the chat room will be our first matchup of this evening. We got number 7. Okay. And number 8. Wow, you guys went right next to each other. 7 and 8. Okay, let's just. No, that wrong. That against that. Okay. Let's do this thing. This gets so much easier after I have it all typed in the computer and I can just be like, okay, this and this, and copy and paste. But right now, for our first rounds, we always have to write down. Okay, let's get it started. We have a park area versus a Disney movie. Okay, this is actually a really kind of weird matchup, and I don't know who's going to win, but I'm kind of excited. Okay. So let's get it started because Matt Myers out there. Hi, Matt. Matt threw out a suggestion, and I like the suggestion a lot. And then he threw out another suggestion. I like that suggestion a lot. And we put those into the same spot. Of course, we're talking about New Orleans Square. Now, New Orleans Square over in Disneyland has a little bit of a jazzy vibe to it while you're walking around. Everywhere you go, there is music playing, and it's lively. It puts you right in that jazz age of New Orleans. And it's one of those things that's just unbelievable. It makes you truly feel like you've been transported out of Southern California and gone over to the other side of the United States. But that's not the only music that is found in this area, because also in this area, we have not one, but two of the most iconic Disney sounds or soundtracks of all time. We've got, of course, Dead Men Tell No Tales. Of course, we were talking about Yo Ho, a Pirate's Life for Me. So Yo Ho, a Pirate's Life for Me was written by a man named Exitentio, an amazing Imagineer that we've gone through and talked about several times before on the Wednesday shows. In addition to writing Yo Ho, a Pirate's Life for Me, he also wrote another classic song that is also found here in New Orleans Square, which is the one and only Grim Grinny Ghost. Grim Grinny Ghost, come out to socialize. So no matter where you are going inside of New Orleans Square, you are bound to hear well, as the kids would say, a banger, where you can go through and you can hear just classic music that truly takes you from the outside world into the heart and soul of being in Disneyland. Going up against the New Orleans soundtrack, we have another soundtrack that is completely different, completely sensational in every single way, shape, and form. And I would not be remiss as saying, we're all in this together once we know that we are, you're a star. I don't know the dance, but we are, of course, talking about High School Musical soundtrack. Now, High School Musical, of course, was a hit show back on the Disney Channel, or was it a movie made for Disney Channel movie, a DCOM, if you will, back in the mid-2000s, and it took the entire world literally by storm. It's just kind of crazy how many classic songs came out of this. Not only do we have We're All in This Together, but we also have the start of something new. We've got Get Your Head in the Game, and so many other classic songs. However, one of these songs is going to be silenced by you guys right now, because it is time for us to vote for our first note of the evening. Which soundtrack would you like to have move on to the next round? The soundtrack for New Orleans Square and Disneyland, or High School Musical? You've got about 1 minute to throw your votes into the comments, starting right now. We're all in this together once we know that we're all stars and we'll sing it. Wildcats everywhere, wave your hands up in the air. Now I'm gonna be singing High School Musical the rest of the night. The problem with High School Musical is the music's really catchy. The acting is not the most amazing in the world, but I do actually really enjoy the music. I really enjoyed High School Musical, the musical, the series. You guys have about 30 seconds left to throw your votes into the comments there. We got a few people who just joined us. We are doing a bracket series starting tonight. Right now, the brackets or the first round of voting is between the New Orleans Square soundtrack versus the High School Musical soundtrack, and we only have 10 seconds left to throw your votes in there. I think we might have a. Is the first one going to come down to a tie? 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's tally it up. We got one for New Orleans, one for High School Musical. It is a 2-1 with New Orleans in the lead. 2-2. We get a tie. 3-2 High School Musicals in the lead, and 3-3 New Orleans Square is tying it up. Okay, and we got a lot of people who are watching right now who are not voting. So if you guys are one of those people, make sure in the next round you are going to be voting, because otherwise, as we all know, the rules for the tiebreakers in our bracket series is I am the person who has to decide which moves on and which is not. And as much as I love to get my head in the game, and I love to figure out the start of something new, much like this bracket series, I absolutely love Grim Green Ghost. I love Yo Ho, A Pirate's Life for me. So New Orleans Square is moving on to the next round. Oh. Okay. That brings us to our next number. We need two numbers between the numbers of 1 and 32. Throw them into the comments starting right now. This is going to be a random vote on figuring out what is going to be moving on to our next round here. We also have a lot of movies that have not been added to our list yet. I'm thinking maybe after our first 3 rounds, we will throw some more songs into our mix here as well. We got number 5. Versus number 28. 5 versus 28. Wow, I'm surprised that this is how things are going right now. Okay, let's get us started here. You've got a friend in me. Bum, ba-dum. You got a friend in me. That's not it. We are not talking about Toy Story, but we're actually talking about Toy Story Land. Whenever you go over to Toy Story Land over at Disney's Hollywood Studios, you are going to be completely encompassed with all of the music of Toy Story, but to a completely different tune. While you go through the Alien Swirling Saucers, you can hear all the classic songs like When Somebody Loved Me, but instead it's played at a much more upbeat feeling that has it so you don't feel sad, but you just feel glad that you're on a ride. So while you're going through Toy Story Land, yes, you still have a lot of the same music in instrumental form from the Toy Story universe, but all of it is put into a much happier, a much more upbeat atmosphere to have it so you, the brand new toy in Andy's backyard, feels completely welcome to be in that area. Going up against it is a movie or a soundtrack that I remember vividly. So let's do a quick little backtrack here. Eric, I don't know if you're in the chat room. It doesn't look like you're in the chat room. I will never forget, though, because right after Eric and I first met, this movie came out in theaters. And when this movie came out in theaters, I remember he got a sneak peek of this movie. So he got to see it the day before I got to see it. And I wrote to him and I said, hey, how was the movie? And he said, I did not expect a musical, but I'm happy that we got a musical. I just didn't realize it was going to be a musical. And I was like, how did you not know it was going to be a musical? I knew it was going to be a musical. And of course, that music is asking questions like, when will my life begin? Or, and at last I see the light. Of course, we are talking about Tangled. Tangled is filled with so many classic songs like Mother Knows Best. Mother knows best. Listen to your mother. It's a scary world out there. Mother knows best. And now people are probably also very upset that I decided to choose it. So we're doing soundtracks because that means there's going to be a lot of Brent Dutch singing, which is not the prettiest thing in the world. However, Tangled is filled with so many classic songs like Mother Knows Best. And at last I see the light. I'm malicious, mean, and scary. My snare could curdle dairy, but violence-wise, my hands are not the cleanest. But despite my... Wait, despite my look, no, hook. I always want to be a concert pianist. Can you? Oh, I can't think of the next line though. Anyways, let's get to our vote here while I try to think of the lyrics. Our next vote is between the soundtrack of Toy Story Land over at Disney's Hollywood Studios against Tangled, the classic 2010 Disney animated film, which also, by the way, I love the song during the end credits. I want something that I want. I need something to tell myself I need. That soundtrack for that that music video for that song is one of my favorite things ever. It's a fun video. If you go back and try to find it online, it's online someplace. You guys have about 45 seconds left to throw your votes into the thing. Right now, I do appreciate the fact that we do have multiple members of the Frank fam are voting, and they're actually all voting in unison. So right now, this show is not causing any family trauma yet. We will see how it goes in the future here. You guys have about 32 seconds. It is 32 seconds left to throw your votes in there. We also have a lot of people who are watching right now. We are going up to 17 people right now who are watching, but we're not getting 17 votes. So if you are one of those 17 people who is watching but not voting, come and vote. If you like one of these things and you want them to move on to the next round, make sure that they go to the next round, because you only got 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, we got one vote for Tangled, one vote for Toy Story Land. Toy Story Land takes the lead. It's a 2-1 vote. It is tied up with Tangled, tying it up to Toy Story Land. Then Tangled takes the lead at 3-2 vote, then a 4-2 vote, and 5-2 vote. Tangled has won our next round here. Yeah, Tangled. Okay, that is going to be bringing us to our next thing. We need two numbers between the numbers of 1 and 32. Throw them to the comments starting right now. We do have a lot of people right now who are watching that are not voting, so you guys got to vote. Throw your votes in. I want something that I want. We got number 2, and 28 was Toy Story Land. So we already did 28. It's kind of funny that we actually have used the duplicate number already. So we need another number, because we've already done number 28. We need one more number. 29. 29 it is. Ooh. Oh. Okay. Let's start us off here with number 2. Number 2 is one of the things that I've been on record multiple times as saying, if there is a Disney movie soundtrack that's instrumental and instrumental only, hands down, without a doubt, my favorite instrumental soundtrack of all time that Disney's ever done is The Rocketeer. I love The Rocketeer soundtrack. I absolutely, like, no joke, a lot of my books have been written while listening to the Rocketeer soundtrack, because it's just so peaceful. It's easygoing. That started becoming the Rudy. That's not the Rudy soundtrack, but here. You know what? Let's do just a quick little snippet, and we're not going to have it so it's too long, because I don't want to have it so we get, what's it called? I don't want to get it copyright claim, but let's just listen to the first few seconds. Oh, first we have an ad. Come on, ad. There we go. This is the main title of The Rocketeer. It's peaceful. It's easygoing. I love it. All right, but that's all we're going to listen to, because otherwise we're going to get copyright claimed if we go for another 4 seconds. So the Rocketeer soundtrack is hands down one of my favorite soundtracks. It evokes every emotion that they want you to feel in the film, whether it's excitement, whether it's love, whether it's worry, whether it's just, I love the Rocketeer soundtrack so much. It is hands down one of my favorite things in the entire world, to the point where when we went over to watch the Disney Dreams That Soar, the show that's found, or it's not there anymore, but the drone show that was found over at Disney Springs during the summer, during the pre-show, they go through and they have several different songs from different Disney films. And that was one of the songs. And one of my friends was with me, and they had to go and use Google. They're like, oh, I didn't even know what the song is. I was like, it's the Rocketeer theme song. It's the greatest song ever. But they even agree that it's probably one of the best songs ever. However, I wanted to spend some time on that because I know it's going up against, and I know that this is going to be my only chance to talk about the Rocketeer in this entire bracket series. Going up against it is a classic from 1992. Boom, bum, bum, boom, bum. Bum, 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 Arabian Nights. Of course, we're talking about Aladdin, where you can find out that you've never had a friend like me. Bum, ba, ba, wow, wow, ba, ba. And then, of course, we've got I Can Show You the World, shining, shimmering, splendid. Every single song that is in Aladdin is one of the best songs that Disney's ever done. It is there's no reason why it is not considered one of the greatest Disney films of all time, mainly due to the fact that soundtrack has song after song after song that is just great in that soundtrack. And even though these two movies came out 1 year apart, most people remember Aladdin, and a big part of it is not just because of the genie being played by Robin Williams, but it's also because of the amazing songs in front of it. But at the same time, The Rocketeer may be forgotten by most people, but that soundtrack will live in my heart forever. And that brings us to our next vote. You guys have 1 minute to throw your votes into the comments on what you want to move into the next round, the Rocketeer soundtrack or the Aladdin soundtrack. Throw your votes in starting right now. I mean, I know I'm very well prepared that Aladdin will win this round. As soon as I saw Rocketeer, I was like, oh, okay. Hopefully it's an easy one that's going against it. And then it was like the Aladdin. I'm like, it's not happening. Supercuts. I got it today. My hair was driving me crazy. Magic Kingdom was insane today. I was actually going to go to Magic Kingdom and try to get a haircut. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to stop and get a haircut on the way over to the park today. And I did that. And then I got over there and I was like, oh, it's a good thing because it was absolutely insane over there. Absolutely insane. Okay, you guys have about 5 seconds left. Throw your votes in. Right now, it's a runaway, so we might as well just start adding up the totals. We got 1 for Aladdin, 2 for Aladdin, 3 for Aladdin, 4 for Aladdin, 1 for Rocketeer, 5 for Aladdin, 6 for Aladdin. Aladdin is moving on to the next round here. Okay, I need 2 numbers between the numbers of 1 and 32. Throw those numbers to the chat room starting right now to figure out what our next head-to-head vote is going to be. I do love Aladdin. Aladdin has some great soundtracks. So we got Arabian Nights is the first one. Then we got One Jump. Got to keep 1 jump head of the bread line. 1 head of the flock. I think take a stroll around the block. Oh, number 30 is a good one. Okay, what's number 20? Is 20 a really good one too? It's a pretty good one. This could be an interesting one. This actually could be a very interesting vote. I'm very curious. I don't know where Eric is, but Eric needs to be here for this vote because one of these things is one that he would kill people to make sure that this goes on to the next round. Let's start us off with ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Disneyland proudly presents the Main Street Electrical Parade. Okay, you know the Electrical Parade. We love the Main Street Electrical Parade. And of course, we're including Spectrum Magic in there as well, because both of them are just complete legendary statuses that have been together they were together for years, and now they don't exist. But they might, one of them exists, but the other ones, let's do a quick history. So back in the 1970s, we got the Main Street Electrical Parade originally debuted over in Disneyland, and shortly after it debuted in Disneyland, it's made its way over to the Magic Kingdom. And it was in Magic Kingdom for a very long time. Then it went back over to Disneyland, and then it made its way back to Disney World. And then eventually it would go back to Disneyland, and when that happened, they would create Spectrum Magic, which also was a great, amazing parade, and also filled with amazing songs, hosted by our pal Jiminy Cricket. Eventually, that would disappear. The Electrical Parade would come back. It would stay for a little bit, and then it would leave, and it would go back over to Disneyland, and then it went over to Tokyo, and then it just is hanging out someplace right now. We just don't know where. So that is the history of the electrical parades. Going up against it, though, is a soundtrack which I was not expecting to blow me away. But to this day, this soundtrack is probably one of the best. I probably will go on record as saying this is the best soundtrack that a Pixar movie has ever had. Remember me, though I hate to say goodbye. Remember me, didn't mean to make you cry. Every single part of Coco is driven by the aspect of music. And it just makes sense because the music in Coco feels like home. It feels so emotional. It's fun with like Un Poco Loco. It's heartfelt like Remember Me. And then we have all the other different music that just weaves itself through the story. And everything about it is based around music, and it just makes sense because everything about the soundtrack is just magical. So let's go to our next vote, where we're going to figure out which one of these soundtracks will we remember as it goes to the side. Is it going to be Coco or the Electrical Parade music? Which soundtrack do you want to have move on? Remember me, though I hate to say goodbye. I love Coco. Coco's just I'm just putting it out there. If this gets to a tiebreaker, as much as I love the Main Street Electrical Parade, Coco's gonna win it. It's such good music. Absolutely. What number is Country Beer Musical Jamboree? I do not reveal the numbers. That way it's all completely random. Okay, you got about 15 seconds left to throw your votes in. I would like to give a huge shout out to the Frank fam because they are being very cordial so far. And I'm very proud of them. I'm very, very proud of you guys. Not fighting. It's amazing. Okay, we got one vote for Coco. Main Street Electrical Parade, 2-1 vote with Coco in the lead, 3-1, 4-1, 4-2 vote with Coco still in the lead, 5-2, 6-2, and we still have, right now we've got a total of 26 people who are watching between Facebook and YouTube, but unfortunately not all of you guys are voting, but that's okay because Coco is moving on to our next round. Yay! Okay, we need two numbers between the numbers of 1 and 32. We have used 10 numbers already, so I know that this will be getting down quite a bit. They just yelled at me for voting for Main Street. That's funny. It's too bad we couldn't do like a Survivor, like where you guys are actually like voting people out of your household. Okay, number 19. That's an interesting one. 19. Hey, Shelly, good to have you. We're doing a bracket series today. We need one more number. And number 16. 19 versus 16. Oh, okay. This one I am 99.99999% positive what will be moving on to the next round. But to keep things fair, let's do this. Let's start off with the amazing sounds of a pipe organ. Bum 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 ba-dum bum bum ba-dum bum bum ba-dum bum bum. I know some of you guys are like, oh, that does sound like a pipe organ. Your musical talent is superb. Well, thank you. Of course, that is the pipe organ that is found at the Swiss Family Treehouse in Adventureland. Everywhere you go in Adventureland over at the Magic Kingdom, there is a sound of music in the background, whether it is the sound of drums off in the woods, boom, bada, boom, bada, boom, bada, boom, bada, boom, or the sounds of cackling monkeys in the background singing a little tune, or maybe you hear a flock of birds singing in the tiki, 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 tiki room. Everywhere you go through Adventureland, there is some sort of musical element that binds the entire land together. And my personal favorite part of it is up in the Swiss Family Treehouse, where you can still hear those pipe organs playing the Swiss polka from the classic Disney film, The Swiss Family Robinson. Now, Adventureland, it's dark, it's mysterious, but it's also a lot of fun. And the music is just the same way. It's dark, it's mysterious, but it's also a lot of fun. Now, going up against it is another film that has music that is dark, mysterious, and also a lot of fun. But the dark, mysterious, and a lot of fun music is very fun. We are talking, of course, about the classic film. I've been staring at the edge of the water long as I can remember. Never would ever wonder why. Moana. We're talking about Moana. Moana is filled with so many classic things talking about water because everybody needs to drink enough water. Get your 8 glasses a day so you don't die. That is the key of Moana. It's the entire storyline of that film. No, it's not the entire storyline, but it's a good advice. If I was a doctor and my initials are Brent MD, so kind of I am, I do highly recommend drinking water every single day. Anyways. Moana is filled with so many classic things like Moana, make way, and it's got probably my favorite I Want song. Now, an I Want song is the song that the character sings about what they want in the world as she talks about going out into the water. And of course, I cannot help but talk about this film without the classic line, I am Moana. And then you have got that great orchestra coming up behind her. Oh, the music is done by Lin-Manuel Miranda, and overall, just a great soundtrack from start to finish. And that brings us to our next vote. What do you want to have move on? The Adventureland soundtrack over at Magic Kingdom or the Moana soundtrack? You've got about now it's about 50 seconds left to the vote in the chat room. Moana or the Adventureland soundtrack? Throw your votes in starting, 20 seconds ago. I've been staring at the edge of the water long as I can remember. I mean, the problem, this is my biggest problem with our bracket series, is all it makes me want to do is listen to the music. Like, it wants me to go back and watch High School Musical again. Like, it makes me want to go back and watch Tangled. It makes me want to watch Moana. It makes me want to watch I just love it. Oh yeah. Oh, let's do that, because that is I was on a Disney cruise one time and I did karaoke and I sang You're Welcome, and they said, can you do the rap? And I said, of course I can do the rap. So you're welcome, welcome to think of it. Kid, honestly, I could go on and on. I could explain every natural phenomenon. The tide, the grass, the ground. That was Maui just messing around. I killed an eel, I buried its guts. Sprouted a tree, now you got coconuts. What's the lesson? What is the takeaway? Don't mess with Maui when he's on a breakaway. And the tapestry here on my skin is a map of the victories we've win. I messed up. Look where I've been. I make everything happen. Look at the little mini tap, 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 tap. Hey. Okay, so let's do our vote. We got 1 for Moana, 2 for Moana, 3 for Moana, 4 for Moana, 5 for Moana. We got Adventureland has 1 vote in there. Adventureland's got 2 votes in there. We've got Moana. Moana is moving on to our next round. Okay, while we are going towards our next round, let's take a quick little break because we have added 32 soundtracks into our list so far. Let's try to add a few more in there. So I want you guys to just start throwing out some more soundtracks that we have not put onto our list yet to potentially join our competition here. I do see DuckTales. I like that. We're going to put DuckTales in there. DuckTales, woo! I'm also going to throw Tailspin in there too. And remember, we're talking about the soundtrack, so it does not just include the theme song, but it will also include a lot of other things as well. So keep on throwing a few more things in there. PhilharMagic, I like that. Mickey's PhilharMagic. Any other songs that we want to add in there right now? Gummy Bears, The Adventures of the Gummy Bears. Yes. Dashing and daring, courageous and caring, faithful and friendly with stories to share. All through the forest they sing out in chorus. If you had wings, let's do it. If you had wings. Okay, let's throw a few more out there. Does anyone out there have any more? We'll try to get let's do. We'll put that because remember we're doing the whole soundtrack. So that'd be the Fantasia soundtrack. It's a great soundtrack. Beauty and the Beast. I am shocked that was not mentioned in our first round. Peter Pan, another great one that I'm surprised was not. The second star to the right. I'm going to throw Pinocchio in there because no one said Pinocchio. And When You Wish Upon a Star is just a classic song. Okay, does anyone want to throw a few more in there, or do you want to go to our next round here? The Aristocats. Winnie the Pooh. Okay, let's get two more in there, and then we're up to 45. Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. Okay. Little Mermaid. I don't know how no one had Little Mermaid in there either. Okay, that's 45. So right now, I want two numbers between 1 and 45 to continue our next round here. Okay. Well, we can't do 40. You know what 45 is because that's the last one we threw in there. Okay, wait here. Let's do. We have. I like this. We're gonna throw a few more in here. I'm gonna put these ones just at random too. We will have number 9. Number 9 will be going against something. I just don't know what number 9 is going to be going against yet. Either throw another number out there or two more films. Critter Country. Oh yeah, and then we got another number here, 14. Let's go to 14. Oh man. Okay. Okay, this is going to be a really interesting one. Because this is one where I feel like not everyone has seen these two items. So let's start us off. We've already talked about High School Musical. Now we're talking about High School Musical, the series. The Made for Disney Plus series that came out starting in 2019 when Disney Plus first got released on November 12th. And then they had not 2, not 3, but they ended up with 4 different seasons. Now, all 4 of these seasons had some amazing songs all together. Some of them included things like, if I could go back and change the past, I'd be wondering. Wait, how's that song go? We're gonna just flirt with copyright infringement again here, because I really like that song. Oh no, we gotta add. Here we go. Remember this song? It's a great song. Have to lose. Wait. We're just listen for like the first 15 seconds. Seems like a part of me will always have to lose. Every single time I have to choose. Swore that it felt right, but was I wrong? Is this where I'm supposed to be at all? It's one of those soundtracks where it's like, this is coming from a High School Musical spin-off series. And every single song that is in that soundtrack is just one of the best soundtracks I've ever heard. Like, it really is. I absolutely love High School Musical, the series, and a big part of it is because of the songs. We got things like that. We had things like "Don't Need a King," "I Got a Crown," bum, bum. "Going Higher," bum, bum, bum. Okay, so High School Musical, the series, amazing soundtrack from start to finish. Literally, I cannot recommend the series enough because I think the music actually is really good. Not every episode had great individual songs, and they did sing a lot of like other songs like Beauty and the Beast songs and stuff like that. But overall, they had amazing songs in that series. And if you have not watched that, then you're losing out. Make sure that you go check out some of that. Going up against High School Musical, the series, ironically enough, could be this could be our final song of our final battle of the night, because I just noticed the time and we're, unless we get some extra innings, this is one of those songs or one of those soundtracks that is based off a movie, and that movie, of course, is Mary Poppins. Now, Mary Poppins, of course, we all know, came out in 1964, immediate smash hit, completely changed the course of the Disney company. Mappo, aka Mary Poppins, was the complete funding for Walt Disney World, right outside that window over there. And it really was so unbelievably inspiring that eventually, like 40 years later, we would get a Broadway show. Now, in that Broadway show, we got some of the music from the Sherman Brothers, things like A Spoonful of Sugar, but it would have different twists and turns to it. In addition to that, we've got things like Let's Go Fly a Kite, It's a Jolly Holiday with Mary, and then something that a lot of you guys out there have heard, I know for a fact, hundreds of times, but you might not know what it's from. So let's just listen to a little portion of the song, because then you'll be like, oh, that's where it comes from.
Anything can happen if you let it.
I end every single episode of the Wednesday show since about 2010 with the line, anything can happen if you let it. That is from Mary Poppins, the musical on Broadway, and is hands down one of my favorite songs of all time that Disney's ever done. All right, let's go to a few different song or lines from the song. Wait. No. Here we go. This is a great line. Right, and it's got great lines in the song. Things like, once you started living, you won't forget it, or you won't stop. Or once you started living, wait, what's the line? No. Here we go. Life is out there waiting, so go and get it. See it by the color, seize it by the scruff. Once you started living life, you just can't get enough. Just great lines. I mean, great music, great everything about that thing. So that is going to bring us to potentially our final vote of the evening. What do you want to have go through into the next round? High School Musical, the series, or Mary Poppins on Broadway? You've got 1 minute to throw your votes in, starting right now. As much as I love High School Musical, the series, I just love, like, if you just go through and listen to the Mary Poppins on Broadway soundtrack, it'll blow your mind, because like the Step in Time song is a really cool twist compared to the Step in Time song from the movie. And it's got some just very clever lyrics that they added specifically for the Broadway series. I listen to the soundtrack quite often, actually. It's just a great soundtrack. If you've never listened to it, I highly recommend it. Okay, we got about 20 seconds left to throw your votes in. this will probably be our final vote of the evening. High School Musical end of the series under threat by my daughter, and I'm assuming Greg's in the same one. You get 2 seconds, and let's go to it. We've got Mary Poppins 1, High School Musical, the series. Annalise is taking her entire house under hostage for this. 1-1 vote, 2-1. Mary Poppins in the lead. 3-1. It's still in the lead. 3-2. High School Musical, the series is coming up behind. 3-3. It is now tied. 4-3. Mary Poppins. 5-3. Mary Poppins on Broadway. Moving on to our next round. Yay! By the way, I really, truly, if you have never listened to the Mary Poppins on Broadway soundtrack, go listen to it. I promise you will not regret it. Oh, wait, let's take a look at our subscriber count. We started off at 8,029. We are still at 8,029. So we are going to be wrapping up our show right here. But thank you, everyone out there, for joining us once again. As always, tonight's episode was sponsored by our Patreon pals, who luckily are still alive because they did vote for High School Musical, the series. And if they didn't, their daughter would have killed them. So thank God for no death tonight. But thank you, everyone out there, for joining us once again this evening. I hope you guys enjoyed our little bracket series. We might bring it back next week. Otherwise, we might be coming back in... Wait a minute. Let me look at the calendar real quick here, because now I'm trying to figure out life. We might bring it back next week. The next week after that, we might do a Halloween episode. And then the week after that, we're doing a recap of the Wine and Dine Half Marathon. So, yeah, next week, bracket series. You heard it here first, people. So make sure you join us next week if you want to see a continuation of the bracket series. We'll have things a little bit better organized, too. We are also going to be looking at you guys for a few more things in our bracket series. So think about your favorite soundtrack over the next week that is Disney, and then we will bring it possibly into this competition. But as you just heard it from Mary Poppins the Musical, as always, remember that anything can happen if you let it. Until next time, have a great week, everybody. Bye-bye. Goodbye now.